houses evacuated because of a dangerous landslide in Wollongong. Inside the rubble where Stuart Diver was trapped for 60 hours, Nova Perez-Kneebone to be the first to carry Sydney's Olympic torch. Good evening. The rain has eased and the floods have passed, but now in Wollongong, the frightening prospect of landslides. 130 people were ordered out of their homes last night as a section of hillside broke away.
The rain had finally stopped, but in its wake came something far more dangerous.
We need to evacuate you straight away, the mountain slipping.
A landslide of mud, boulders and trees threatened houses in the tiny hamlet of Mount Kembla.
I heard a lot of trees and rocks crashing down the mountainside.
Hidden by darkness, authorities had no way of knowing how big the slip was.
The decision was then made to evacuate some 50 premises and 130 odd people.
Residents grabbed what they could before fleeing.
You can't believe it, can you?
Most were given shelter at the nearby pub. Michelle Rowland's house was closest to the landslip.
Trees cracking, just a rumble. Nothing, I've never heard it before.
Police sealed off the area to wait for daylight. A geotechnical engineer was brought in to assess the danger from the air.
We'll just have to wait until the experts tell us it's okay.
Waiting for the all clear, Phil Giblin said his dog woke him.
The noise and everything's actually pretty terrifying.
By lunchtime, the residents were told the slip wasn't serious.
Go back to your homes, just exercise some common sense and caution.
Home sweet home.
With more heavy rain predicted over the next few days, experts are now worried about more than 300 potential landslide sites in the Illawarra region. Wollongong University professor Robin Chowdhury has studied the danger.
Not all the movements develop into full-scale catastrophic landslides like Thredbo. And that is the unpredictability about landslides.
Now all Wollongong can do is wait and hope the next deluge will not be as vicious as the last. Simon Boda, National 9 News.
For the first time tonight, we can give you a rescuer's eye view of how they saved Stuart Diver after the Thredbo landslide. A videotape made by police shows the extraordinary lengths they had to go to get him out.
The first pictures of the hellhole where Stuart Diver spent more than 60 hours waiting to be rescued.
This slab here was, at the start, the bottom of the tunnel that Stuart was guiding us towards him.
Fire Brigade officer Rob Killam gives a detailed account of how rescuers worked through more than 3 metres of mud and debris before reaching the 2 concrete slabs which had entombed Diver.
You could probably say it was as much of a miracle as him being alive, but I guess in reality it's probably a product of years of training and experience.
After making contact with the ski instructor, emergency workers were astonished to find he had escaped the landslide unhurt.
You know, I said to the guys, it didn't even look like he had any scratches on him. Like I said, big call, but I said, I don't think he's even got any lacerations on him.
But they were acutely aware that 18 others weren't so lucky.
I think it was 2 days later we realised that there was actually another body right here.
After a complicated and dangerous operation, rescuers reached Diver through a makeshift manhole, their final moment of triumph surprisingly simple.
And eventually what they did was slid him past the hole, so his feet went into this section over there that had been excavated, and then basically sat him up, and out he came.
It has not yet been decided if Stuart Diver will tell his story from the witness box. Christine Spiteri, National 9 News.
Some relief but no joy today for the parents of Nicole Collins and Lauren Barry. The man who has admitted killing the Bega schoolgirls was jailed for at least 35 years.
24-year-old Lindsay Beckett will be almost 60 before he's released. Judge Vincent said his crimes against 16-year-old Nicole Collins and 14-year-old Lauren Barry were the most chilling he'd encountered during his time on the bench. Beckett admitted to the brutality, taking police to the crime scene, explaining in detail how he and another man had repeatedly raped and terrorised the girls before walking them into the bush, tying them up and killing them with a knife. You took their lives for no better reason than to avoid detection and prosecution for a series of vile acts committed against them. As the details were read in court, the only other sound was the soft weeping of Nicole's mother, then her ecstatic cry, yes, when the judge announced the punishment. Justice Vincent sentenced Beckett to 2 life terms to be served concurrently. He set a non-parole period of 35 years.
We're quite happy with the result in that it's a reasonable result, but it provides no joy. There was no winners today. Lindsay Beckett didn't win. We've lost our girls. There's nothing but loss for the whole community.
Helen Ballard, National 9 News.
There's been another case of divers left behind on the Great Barrier Reef. It happened on Sunday when 2 men from Brisbane were abandoned while snorkelling off Gladstone. Luckily, they were picked up by another boat. American adventurer Steve Fossett is within sight of dry land tonight, 3 days after ditching his balloon in the Coral Sea. It wasn't the finish he'd hoped for, steaming into Townsville aboard the New Zealand naval ship the Endeavour, but the American looked fit and well as he waved to our camera crew, giving him a helicopter escort. Mr. Fossett's solo Spirit balloon remains partly submerged in the Coral Sea. The churches have joined the growing pressure for the federal government to exempt food from its GST. It came as the government moved to close an embarrassing loophole in its tax package, affecting pensioners in nursing homes.
The Catholic Church blew the whistle, revealing that pensioners in nursing homes and hostels could lose most of the pension rise promised in the tax package as compensation for the GST.
The normal case that applies is that when the pension is increased, up to 85% of the pension will go to the running of a nursing home.
Of the promised 4% increase, worth $6.48 a week, a pensioner could end up with less than $1. With elderly Australians already sceptical about the tax plan, the government moved quickly to fix the situation, promising legislation, if necessary, to make sure the full increase is passed on.
They will have full 4%, and we will ensure that the fees are not rising against them to try and swallow that up.
Nobody intends for there to be a windfall to providers.
Not so easily dealt with is a growing protest from the churches against the imposition of a GST on food.
This is the means by which the government gets the money to pay big tax dividends to high-income earners. A kindergarten kid would know that was not fair.
Some countries apply a GST to restaurants and takeaway outlets, but not to fresh food, or to cooked food, but not uncooked. Mr. Costello ridicules that approach.
If you want tax inspectors going around with little thermometers, putting them into your pies, putting them into your chickens, trying to determine what the temperature is to try and work out what the tax rate is, you can do that.
Laurie Oakes, National 9 News.
No rest for Bill Clinton. Now he's accused of sending secret signals to Monica Lewinsky. At the centre of the fuss, a tie she allegedly gave him, worn on the day she finally gave details of her presidential affair.
That necktie. Monica Lewinsky pointed it out to investigators as the one she gave to the president for his birthday exactly 2 years ago today. He reportedly laughed at suggestions during his interrogation this week that by wearing it, he was sending her a secret message. She is said to have told Mr. Clinton, "When I see you wearing this tie, I will know I am close to your heart." He wore it on the very day she gave evidence to the grand jury. If anyone could prove he was trying to send a signal, it could be considered obstruction of justice. Although it's been pointed out, she went into the courtroom early that day and hours before she would have seen him and the tie on the news. The usually very public Clinton family were nowhere to be seen today, gone to ground here at a friend's holiday home. A planned 52nd birthday party was cancelled.
It's going to be kind of a quiet, relaxing time to deal with what a family is obviously dealing with at this point.
It's also been revealed today the president has given a DNA sample to the special counsel, apparently so it can be compared to stains on one of Monica Lewinsky's dresses.
Tomorrow, this embarrassing American saga continues with Monica Lewinsky brought back before the grand jury for questioning. She apparently is prepared to reveal a lot more about her sexual encounters in the White House kitchen than the president. Robert Penfold, National 9 News, the White House.